to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, welcome to the 1 o'clock general session of the Southampton Town Trustees, July 14th. I'd like to ask the Secretary of Treasurer to call the roll.
Mr. Horowitz.
Present.
Everyone. Chipman.
Here.
John McLaughlin.
Here.
And Matt Parsons.
Present.
All hands present.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome to the folks that are on Zoom. For information, our next meetings will be August 4th, work session at 10:30 a.m. here at Town Hall, followed by our regular session at 1 p.m. We do have some discussions that are on. First one is Old Town Pond, discussing mobilizing Bioorganic Technologies Spadefoot Ecosystem Solutions. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
You're Frank
I'm Frank Piccinini.
Piccinini. How are you, sir?
You'd rather sit there.
If you could, wherever you're more comfortable, if you're more comfortable there or
I'll
here.
wander around here.
Don't wander
No, you
around.
can't
We
wander.
need the mic. You can't wander.
Yeah, we-
Pick one or the other.
Here.
You good?
Yeah.
Sign in if there's a sign-in sheet, yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, Scott, you're That's why you can't wander.
That's why I
Yeah, we
can't
gotta
wander.
turn these things on here. Thank you for that. We got these new mics.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and speak to you folks today. My name is Frank Piccinini, the co-founder and CEO of Spadefoot Ecosystem Solutions. Today I'm here to talk to you briefly about the potential Bioorganic mobilization at Old Town Pond, talk a little bit about the technology, like how we've gotten to where we are, what's the update on the permitting aspect of it, and really I was hoping that it could be sort of a discussion. You know, I can answer any questions that the board might have. We have an active permit application before the trustees. However, today is just an informational session, and I'm happy to be here to chat. So, in brief, bioaugmentation has been around as a science for a really long time, really since the 60s or 70s. So we've known that bacillus bacteria and various other microbes degrade organic matter in water bodies. And so the science has been that we would cook these things up in a lab. They'd be delivered in spore state, basically buckets of bugs. And you could dump them into waters that have eutrophication, overloads of organic matter. And of course, I didn't go through the whole eutrophication issues because I know the board is well familiar with what's going on there as far as nutrient loading. But we would dump these buckets of bugs into the pond, and pretty quickly the bacteria would wake up in these little ponds and start chewing on the organic matter, which is great. However, what has been the issue is really the scale of the matter, right? So if you had like a small koi pond in your backyard where you might have been overfeeding your fish, and you have a bunch of organic matter settled at the bottom, yes, you can buy a bucket of bugs and dump it in your koi pond, and it would be in pretty short order a healthy system again. However, each bucket of bugs costs around $500 or so. And if you imagine the scale of 10.3 acres, for example, with Old Town Ponds, we would be talking about thousands of buckets per day. And so the folks from Bioorganic, a team of a chemical engineer with 60 years of experience in wastewater treatment, a microbiologist with PhDs in 3 different domains: biochemistry, microbiology, and one other that escapes me at the moment, and a very brilliant scientist and a process engineer. Put together not only this unique consortium of bacillus bacteria, it's about 6 species, and they've been curated over the course of a 50-year career from the chemical engineer. So they all play well with others is how it's been put to me, quite simply. And the process engineer came up with a very unique way to actually dispense these things. And so it's a on-site microbial generation unit. Basically, all we do is we draw water in from the pond, put it into a holding tank. we drip, literally it's an IV bag, we drip a teeny bit of the consortium into this holding tank. In 20 minutes, it becomes 20 gallons of active state microbiology. So if you just did the back of the envelope math, if we were to buy the same number of buckets of bugs, it would be $75,000 worth of buckets of bugs each day that we're generating the microbial equivalent of. And so it's a really exciting thing. It took us a really long time, however. I mean, we've been licensees for MBioOrganic for 3 years. It took it a long time before Marshall, my partner, and I would make any public comments on the matter because we wanted to see that this works. Because frankly, it sounded a little bit too good to be true to me. And so we found a pond at Sands Point Preserve in Nassau County and implemented this technology. And the reason why we did it in Sands Point Preserve is because it's a man-made pond. And so we didn't have to worry about jurisdictional issues, whether or not we needed a state DEC permit and so on. We wanted to try it in a low-key situation where we can see if this thing works. And gosh, it blew our minds. It was the ponds, when we started the process, the pond was fluorescent green. It's like one of these things, if you dip your toe in it, you might get an extra toe or so. It was tough. And so we started discharging the microbial consortium. It was like reading the tea leaves. We were looking, is it breaking up? It looks like it's breaking up. We started getting these lab results back. And just the drop in nitrogen was incredible. These microbes exhibit something called chemotaxis. So they first went down into this oxic layer of sediment and started to chew that away. And then once all the oxygenated sediment at the very top of the base of the sediment was basically eliminated, the bugs migrated into the water column, started working on the water column, and that got kind of clear. You saw these algal populations absolutely collapse in the pond, which was a wonderful thing to watch. Note that we are not actually hurting the algae in any way or anything, and I'll tell you a little bit about the bugs after this, but we quickly measured, we were measuring the sludge at the bottom. We used the device called a sludge judge. It's graduated cylinder. You kind of stick it into the pond and read it. And we did a whole grid of samples, and we've been monitoring it ever since. And the microbial consortium digested 1,400 cubic yards of sediment in just 90 days, which is just absolutely breathtaking. That's about, just for reference, if we had to dredge that out, that would be 75, I don't know the exact math, but it's over 70 big triaxle dump trucks that we would have had to haul off site. It was just, gas into the atmosphere, became, part of the vegetation around. So these bacillus, just a little bit about it, and then I'll cut my comments and be happy to answer any questions. The bacillus these are ubiquitous bacillus bacteria. So they can be cultured from your large intestines. They're in the soil. They're in the air. These are probiotic microbes. They're biosafety level 1. They're rated as. They are non-pathogenic. They're fully sequenced, so we know exactly what they are. And they should be in our water bodies in great number. The reason they're not is because of our past land use practices, right? So the natural factory for these bacillus microbes are the rhizosphere, the roots of the trees, right? So there's this tripartite symbiotic relationship between trees, mycorrhizal fungi, and bacteria. So you can think of the tree roots as the highways for nutrient exchange. You could think of the fungal hyphae as the side roads, and the drivers on this system are the bacillus bacteria. And so they run around and find nutrients, convert it into usable forms for the trees, and help pull the nutrients out of the soil and put them into the standing biomass. So every time when you have a healthy surrounding watershed for a pond, every time it rains, you get a pulse of nutrients, but so too do you get a pulse of these probiotic beneficial bacteria. But unfortunately, if you remove this native biodiversity around the ponds and replace it with things like impermeable surfaces or lawns, you get all these massive pulses of nitrogen without the beneficial microbes. So they should be there. They're not anymore. So this is a way to kind of augment the system and get the sludge to basically the fuel for all the harmful algal blooms in some of these other deleterious impacts like the toxins associated with the harmful algal blooms. The bacteria, eats the sludge. It eats actually the toxins as well, but it does not hurt anything. They're non-pathogenic. So I think that's a pretty decent summary, and I'm happy to dive into any of these specific portions.
So I have a few questions, if I may, Scott. I just want if you can clarify for the board just a little history here, because as you mentioned jurisdictions. Now you may not be aware of it until recently, but but Old Town Pond is within our jurisdiction. Actually, we own the pond, and I just want to know for the record, how did you come upon working with the village? Because obviously, the first time hearing of this was, at least for me, was in the press. So were you approached by the village, or did the village approach you? How was the whole initial contact made?
Yeah. I mean,
curious.
we've been talking to friends, peers, anybody who will listen honestly
You
about.
didn't come to us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm just
well,
curious
I mean,
you were, what was
if
the
anything, it was an
process?
oversight. We a former trustee, Robin Brown, a friend of ours, was interested in this and asked us to come and speak to the
Okay.
village. We spoke,
Okay.
to the mayor really early on, and this has been forthcoming for some
I
time.
just want to put on the record, what the history and so forth. So it's not Christmas. It was an oversight. So I accept that, but I want to make sure that we all know what had transpired.
Well, the King of England gave you this jurisdiction.
Correct,
So,
yes.
we have to honor that to be
Yes,
sure.
that's true.
So
Appreciate you recognizing that.
Yeah. So forgive.
I mean, so basically a lot of this isn't going down because there's no microcilium in any of the soils that are adjacent to the pond, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
For want of a better, yeah. So we're basically making up for the fact that the land use practices of the adjacent homeowners isn't the most environmentally sound.
And
So-
agriculture, I'll say too.
Well, there's not much agriculture left around Old Town Pond, correct?
Fair. North of it, there's some flow, to my understanding.
But adjacent to the pond, if there was microcilium in the soil,
Yeah.
these organisms that you're speaking of would probably occur naturally.
Yeah, I'll add though, assuming, okay, in this scenario that we tear all the homes down and all the septic systems are pulled and we restore the forest that was historically there, even pre.
But you can have microcilium in a standing lawn as long as you're utilizing the correct practices for
So
lawn care.
yeah, so yes, but maybe not the right ones. So there's a continuum of mycorrhizal fungi. There's lawn are associated with arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi. Not important why it's that, but the native forest where a lot of the rhizosphere where these bacillus bacteria thrive and really start to regenerate are ectomycorrhizal fungi. So things like oaks and forest species. A lawn is really early successional. Then we add on fertilizer, right? And then we add on septic input, and then we mow it every single week with heavy machinery, and then we irrigate it 5 times a day. Maybe that's a huge exaggeration, but lawns basically, nitrogen does not stick in lawns. It doesn't. It just runs right off. If on the continuum, if concrete is here and a forest is over there, lawns way on this side of the continuum, and it's because again these mycorrhizal fungi. It's just not the right consortium of mycorrhizal fungi and bacteria. But to your point, if we restore the watershed, we will get some natural loading of these probiotic bacteria. However, that's of course a multi-pronged, multi-year, it's a generational.
You're just trying to
task,
jumpstart it.
Jumpstart it and buy municipalities time so people don't have to worry about their dogs dying because they, swam in the toxic lake.
Have you thought of doing this, like taking a sample, bringing it back to the lab, and seeing in the lab if it would work, if it would be a viable solution? Or I'm just curious if you can do a more controlled environmental look at this.
Yeah, so certainly in the lab, it just tears through any organic matter we
Right.
give it. We start them out with chicken broth,
Okay.
and the chicken broth is quickly consumed away, and so it works.
No, I'm
Yeah.
saying taking a sample from the pod itself and then just bringing it back to the lab and then seeing what happens.
You're missing a lot when you go to the lab. There's so many conflating variables
Factors,
and factors, and that's why we wanted a field test in order to out in Sands Point before we even spoke to anybody about this. So it really happens in the field. The lab is at best a proxy, at worst it's just such an oversimplification that it's really not worth looking at. But in a lab, we've taken pond water and it made the pond water better.
Just curious.
Is it, so this is a study, this is another field study you'd like to conduct?
So this is an active application with both in front of the trustees and the state DEC. We're working on. I guess I should give a quick update on the state. Is that relevant to the
That's
board?
usually-
Yes,
yeah.
please.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So the state has, frankly, they didn't know what to do with it. It's neither fish nor fowl. If you have a dock, they know exactly what department this goes to. So the state's position was, well, we can't figure out where it goes, so we'll make it go everywhere. And so we've basically had to get every permit that they have. So one good thing is because we don't kill anything, we are not making any algacidal claims. And so all we're doing is reducing the fuel load that causes algae, but we're not killing any of the algae. So the DEC did give us an affirmative understanding that we do not have to get a algicide permit, which was a major win for us. But we have been working really hard and getting a speedies permit. We sent it out for that. We sent it out for toxicology testing. And so for acute and chronic toxicology, there's no effect on the target species, minnows and invertebrates. We are jumping through other hoops. And as an environmentalist, listen, it's as a permittee, I get a stack of paper this long, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a lot to do. As an environmentalist, frankly, I'm glad that we're going through the rigorous review that we have to. And it's not just them; it's the village. It's going through SECRA at the moment. So H2M has been retained, to my understanding, to do a third-party review of this on behalf of the village. And of course, we're in front of the trustees and have to make sure you folks are comfortable with the technology as well. So we are going through rigorous review, and it gives the public the verification that they need and deserve. So that's the update on the permitting.
And
Yes,
relative
Frank?
to the size of this volume, this body of water, I mean, what was your hope to see, a difference from your application? I mean, what was the time frame that you?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking it.
So I think it'll happen fairly quickly. And so to give you an example, with Sands Point Preserve, we purposefully we were getting asked that question over and over again. So we purposefully shut it off this January and didn't turn it on again until June. And the idea is let spring pulses go through and load the pond. And we wanted to get it all nice and gross again, we'll say eutrophied. And then we turned the unit on, and within about 2.5 weeks, we started to dominate the system. You could tell just by the data that we're collecting, also the visual cues. And so Old Town Pond, if you're going to put me on the spot, I'd say you would see measurable water quality improvements within the first month or so. And then what'll happen, again, it'll go after any surface scum. That's the first target. Then it'll go after that smorgasbord of sediment that they like to eat. I should mention they're facultative anaerobes, so they can do without oxygen, but they are more efficient with oxygen. So first, they are going to take on the surface scums. Second, they're going to sink down to the bottom and take on that oxic layer of sediment, oxygenated layer of sediment, and then they move into the water column, get that all in order, and then they'll move back down into the sediment. And what they'll do is they'll start kind of fluffing the sediment up, and they'll kind of work its way in and start to digest that over time.
And the opening of the outflow pipe isn't going to affect any of this processes?
It might help, honestly, to get a little movement in the water. But no, the idea is our hope is that if the pipe has to be opened for stormwater discharge or whatever, that it's not going to cause an issue in the beach. I think one of the first things that are going to be positively impacted is the water column, and so the hope is that there's no interruption in beach going activity. Once this thing is really churning along.
Is this a one-time process, or is it something that will be ongoing for years?
Yeah, so it's the proposal that we have in front of the Village of Southampton is for a 2-year term. And so we would discharge continuously for 2 years. And then we'll decide with the village at that point whether or not it's worth continuing it. We might unplug it and see how quickly it reverts. It will revert. But the idea is to give the village and the trustees and all the relevant authorities time to deal with this loading issue, right? Because we're not solving the loading issue. We need to restore the ecosystem around the ponds. We need to get a hold of our septic system discharge. We need to figure out, where this loading is coming from and how to mitigate it. But in the meantime, we hope to make the pond, nutrient, low nutrients, how it's supposed to be. Yeah.
What kind of yearly estimate of cost would be involved in it?
So the whole, it's broken out. It's a tortured earn-out schedule because the village had specific funds and so on. But I want to say it was like $380,000 for a 2-year term, including a very rigorous monitoring protocol. Relative.
That's important.
Yeah. Yes, and we wouldn't do it without the monitoring protocol.
Once the bassalists are running, can you see like flocks of them at the surface or on the bottom?
It's microbiology, so you really can't. But what you will see is like at Old Town Pond, the bloom started happening again. I'm sorry, at Sands Point Preserve in June, it started to really bloom, and it was like a uniform mat of green on top of the pond surface. We turned the thing off, and within a week, you can start to see streaking of the bloom actually breaking up, and within 2 weeks, there's no surface scum. Now the water column is still green, but there's also there's green algae, which generally does not produce toxic byproducts like the cyanobacteria, the blue-green algae does. Can you see it working? Not really. Yeah.
I don't mean see it working, just see quantities of it.
You really can't. They're motile as well, right? So like you discharge these things, and they have like a little flagella. They'll swim down to the again, they do this thing called chemotaxis. So they'll follow resource gradients, and so they'll be kind of intermixed with the muck. You can't really discern. I guess if you took a sample and looked under a microscope, you probably would be able to see them. But short of that, no.
So I would just like to commend you to being progressive. And I know that the steps, unfortunately, to go through the New York State DEC is very arduous and very painful. I've been working with a lot of people similar as yourself, and I wish the state would be willing to step up to bat and be a little bit more progressive. And I believe we as a trustee board are very historically progressive. So
Right.
I personally have your blessing as long as the state signs off
Sure.
on the safety of this product, that it's not even a product, as you say, it's an organism to utilize for mitigating, some of the affluent that's going into these water bodies. So thank you.
To your point, it's like an onion. Every time I peel the layer back, I cried a little bit. But at the same time,
to realize that an environmental agency will not take on progressive thinking.
Yeah, I rationalize with myself though, especially with a new thing like this. There's a ton of downside for them and almost no upside for them. So,
But in reality, just to address that, and I have full respect for the other regulatory authorities that I have to work with, because everybody's they got to do their thing. And, there is a lot of changeover going on and a lot of new people that are coming from the new school, because there's been a lot of old school, thinking. And I think it's good to mix that institutional knowledge with the new concepts. And I think that as we as a board and we as a community are wrestling with water quality issues that have presented themselves based on our density increases and based on our past land practices, You have a lot of people that have been looking at this degradation and working hard to try and fix it and want to see something occur in their lifetimes.
Right.
Right? While we're working on septics and runoffs and older agricultural influences and the road runoff and whatnot. And I think it's fascinating and important to everybody's point, like that we all get around the table and figure out what's the best solution, which is why, I'm fascinated to see how this turns out.
Thanks.
May I ask a question?
Sure you.
Yeah. How are the feds with this? Have you you're doing this in New York. Is it being done in other states where there might be federal input to this or other states?
They've had one in Tennessee. The good thing is with the Clean Water Act, which is the relevant statute, it's federalist, right? So the authority that the DEC is regulating under the Freshwater Wetlands Act is actually delegated from the state. The same thing goes with the pesticide authority. How it works, to my understanding, is that the feds put together broad mandates. The state put together a plan. The feds sort of okay the plan or don't, and then the state has the authority to kind of to regulate. And so we have not had to deal directly with the federal government because it's not. It's under the purview of the state and, of course, local.
You had mentioned, I think, that you were licensed to do this?
We are.
Okay, so that there's another company above you that you're working off their license. So
Yep.
That's what I'm questioning. Has there been any input from other states or from the federal government to the licensing authority, shall we say?
So they've done a pilot in Tennessee for surface waters. This was actually developed to treat wastewater treatment plants effectively, and we're actually talking with a couple wastewater treatment plants locally as well. But that's been their main gig is the wastewater treatment plant. So there was one other surface water. There was some like lagoon stuff in Canada, which obviously doesn't count for U.S. federal oversight.
No, but it's a governmental authority that would be.
It's most regulators sort of don't know what to do with it. I mean, is it regulated activity? If you look at the Freshwater Wetlands Act and look at the definition of regulated activity, discharge of microbes. Arguably it's regulated, but I would have a strong argument that it's not. But why fight? There hasn't been a whole lot of oversight, and honestly, with this Old Town Pond permit, we've really been the ones kind of fleshing out how regulators are going to treat this. And basically, what they've come up with is get every permit, and then we won't have to answer any questions as to why we. Yeah.
Thank you.
I do have one question. You said one of the byproducts is off-gassing. Is there any negative, I know with blue-green algae and the vapors, breathing them in could cause issues with breathing and stuff like that. Is there any similar issues with this product, the way it works and everything?
Yeah, it's N2 gas. So our atmosphere is like something like 78% nitrogen N2. So that's the byproduct. It's just pushes it back into the atmosphere. It's the same thing that septic systems do. Or when they're effective anyway, is that they try to get denitrification. But the bigger way that the nutrient load actually leaves the system is because the bacteria, I mentioned the whole thing about mycorrhizal fungi, the bacteria make the nutrients more bioavailable for plants and other life. So you'll have a probiotic beneficial impact on the on the plant life. So I'll give you an example. Phosphorus is typically bound in the sediments. The bacillus bacteria can unbind the phosphorus from the sediment, and then it's bioavailable for the plant, and then it gets put into the plant tissue. Maybe I'm going too far down a rabbit hole, but you asked if there's any negative side effects on off-gassing. It's non-toxic. It's inert. It's an inert gas that we're all breathing in as we stand here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, not too far down the rabbit hole. I think you're doing a good job with your presentation. That's fine.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any additional questions before I let this gentleman go and we continue on? James, you good? I thank you very much for your presentation.
Yes.
Thank you.
If we have more questions, we will not be shy to reach out.
Yeah, and we'll be before you. I hopefully
Officially,
soon.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Communications, we have some. I'll make a motion to dispense reading them here. You.
Second.
Seconded, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor.
Aye.
I think what we'll do next is move on to our public hearings. We have a notice of public hearing for Pratik Dalal, 20 Ludlow Lane, Hampton Bays. I would like to make a motion to open that public hearing.
Second.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so it is reopened, or opened. Are you ready?
Sorry.
Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Okay.
You are in receipt of updated plans that have reduced the scope of the stabilization.
And that was after comments coming from the state DEC.
Correct. Yes. So they wanted us to limit the rocks to the northern section of the property. And to give more time for the plantings to stabilize the southern end.
Okay, and
So that's what you have. So we haven't received updated comments based on these plans just yet. It's with their technical team. But the revised plans just reflect the comments that we received from them. So it tapers off, so we don't have any returns, and the rocks will taper in size as we come towards the, towards like the plantings, the vegetation,
okay,
to limit scouring.
okay.
So what percentage of the property is going to be armored by the rocks?
Maybe a third to a quarter, if I had to
How
estimate.
does it relate relative to the rocks that are there now?
So it's in basically the same section. So if we can reuse them, we'll reuse them. But it's in, essentially the same area as the rocks are currently. They're in that northern section of the property.
Right, so
Yeah.
just got it right there. Anybody else here to speak on this public hearing today? Anybody on Zoom that wants to be heard on this public hearing today? Is that a yes, a no?
We have one person on Zoom.
That wants to be heard relative to this specific public hearing?
Yes.
I got the door shut now.
And I'm sorry, should I just grab the sign in from the podium?
Yeah, you can do that. You can grab this.
Bringing them in now.
You want to let them in, and if they could state their name for the record, and that would be helpful.
He's bringing them in.
Okay, thank you. So you're not totally there yet. You're working your way there. You're
Yes.
still boiling down the comments, which is good.
Yes, we had a meeting, we had a Zoom meeting with the DEC, and have been in touch with the analyst, and so right now, yeah, it's with the technical team, so fingers crossed.
Okay, we ready on Zoom?
Just trying to bring them in.
Okay. That area is getting beat up pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
the whole area.
Yeah.
One of the questions that I have as a trustee is that we can preserve public access for the beach. And looking at the amount of beach that is between the project and the low water market, there's a considerable beach there so that people can utilize that during, beach season and being able to walk back and forth. I mean, I think some of the initial concerns was that this project was going to interfere with a lot of that, but it looks like it's moved much higher up, and where it is currently, it's almost to where the wetlands transitions to beach.
Right,
But
yeah,
it's-
we
it-
have it landward of mean high water.
Well, no, you have it touching mean high
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
You have it touching mean
But-
high water.
But it-
Not seaward of,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
Right. I'm looking at your plans here, and I'm looking at your plans there, and you are at mean high water, which
Right.
is where you need to be.
Mhm.
Yep.
But this area at high tide, it's inundated,
Yeah, I mean,
totally inundated at
No,
high
I,
tide.
no, I understand that, but
Yeah.
in the beach to the south where the bulkheads are, you can't get past. But at a low tide or a medium tide, you still have a lot
Even
of usable beach.
right, and even when you're going the other way, further to the north, at high tide, you're walking in the water.
right, and then basically once you're past like the property to the north, there's no pass there.
No.
Yeah, you can go up and over the dock that's there and keep going, right?
A
There's-
little bit,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
for a
that's
little
it,
ways,
because
but yeah.
there's not, it's been beaten up so bad, this area,
Mhm.
over the course of time.
Mhm.
I would suspect more folks are gonna come in looking to shore up their properties in this area,
Probably.
just based on my observations of how badly it is eroding there.
Yeah, this property is definitely experiencing a lot of erosion, and historically, there's been a lot of erosion, and to the south too, but the DEC just felt that they wanted to give more time to allow the plantings to establish, and just felt that more recently that there wasn't enough erosion, to warrant the rocks continuing the whole way, so. But yeah, properties all over are experiencing a lot of erosion.
Okay, Zoom,
They're not joining.
they're not joining on Zoom. Okay, we gave them the opportunity to join on Zoom. Well, is there anybody else in the audience that wants to speak on this application for 20 Ludlow? Okay, so we're gonna have to adjourn this because you're not ready to go.
No, we're still waiting for
You're
comments.
not ready to go. So when do you think you'll be ready? Late August?
Fingers crossed?
Because I'm not gonna say early August, because it's not
No.
gonna happen,
No.
okay?
Put it up to September, that way we'll have time for them to
First
get
meeting in
this-
September?
Okay.
Hold on one sec. 8th
No
September.
sense in rushing these
No, that's
hearings
why I'm
without
saying
the
it.
information.
That's why I said it's definitely not gonna make the first one, and I don't know if it would make the last one, but if you have no issue with adjourning till September, I think that's a
Okay.
sensible plan.
September 8th.
So I'll make a motion to adjourn this to September 8th. Seconded by Secretary Treasurer Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so hopefully you have some comments and we can keep working on this at that point in time. All right?
And I think I'm next as well.
Well, let me be official about this,
Sorry.
if you don't mind.
I'm not trying to take your job.
Okay. All right. Next public hearing, Oksana Lashko, 12 Bayview Drive East, Noyak. I'd like to make a motion to open that public hearing,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Warner. All in favor?
Okay. Mr. Spellman called and said that he did not have his paperwork submitted to us. He is going to do that within the next week, hopefully. He does have it, he just did not get it in time.
All right, so then we can't do anything with this right now. Is there anybody from the public that wanted to add anything to this 12 Bayview Drive East hearing?
No hands.
Okay, it's okay.
I would put it to 8-4 to keep it on a short leash.
Put it to the 8-4.
8-4? Okay, so I will make a motion to adjourn this to August 4th.
Second.
Seconded Trustee McLaughlin, all in favor? Okay. Like to open notice of public hearing for Daisy McFadden, 7 Norton Place.
Second.
Seconded Trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
And we want to do the other one at the same time?
Yeah,
I think that would be appropriate.
simultaneously would make
Is that
sense.
175?
Yeah,
Let's make a motion to open up 175 Town Point Road.
second.
Seconded Trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we have both hearings open to be worked on simultaneously. I see we have Mr. Aram Tertunian here.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Aram Tertunian, First Coastal, West Hampton Beach, on behalf of Michael Alex, 175 Tow Point Road.
Is council coming in?
Yeah, I saw council running around. Do you both have representative council or no?
Yeah, they've
I
had
think we're
council.
gonna-
You're gonna handle this?
Ourselves.
They're gonna do it.
They're just gonna be observers in this?
Hard to do. Because we got a
Your
communication
counsel laughing back there?
on the 7 Norton Place from the public. That's why I just wanted to make sure the council had it.
John's not here.
He was here.
I'll see if he's in the hall.
Well, he's, okay.
No, I just as in terms of, since Mr. Bennett had been here before, we did receive communication last night. I just wanted to make sure.
I'll let him know that we've opened up this hearing.
Yeah.
As a matter of courtesy, that's great. There he comes. Okay. Okay, that happens. That happens.
Hey, just, John, did you receive a copy of the letter from David McMaster? We received it last night electronically. I didn't know. All right, I'll give you my copy then.
I have a copy here.
Does he have
Oh,
any
okay.
objections?
Just want to make sure you have it, so.
I would have appreciated it been sent to me, but that's okay.
Sunday is Sunday, so.
Well, what's his bottom line?
I'm happy to address that when I get up.
Well, you'll
Well, would
see
you
that,
like-
you'll see that we have.
Would you like him to
agreement.
address that now? Would that be helpful?
Well, why don't we?
I mean, we have an agreement.
Okay, I mean, you just asked about the bottom line, but go ahead, Aaron, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, we had the opportunity to review a set of plans that was provided to us by Kate. Those plans, to the best of my ability to discern, married very closely with what we had suggested.
Okay.
And as a result of that, we
You got this.
believe that
This
this
works.
is reasonable. And of course, my client's project at 175, as I believe Trustee Marin had mentioned in the past, is fully compliant already, so I really don't have anything to say about that.
We're fully supportive of Aaron and Jim's client's project as they are with ours. I read Mr. McMaster's letter. It doesn't take much to realize that I don't see how his client is actually harmed at all.
Do we have some kind of pier line to existing docks that are in Davis Creek? Because I have gotten a lot of correspondence with people that are not directly in this, but
40 feet.
it's 40 feet.
And that's what all those are. On the diagram you're looking at.
No, I'm just asking all other docks that are along Davis Creek. Besides the bridges, obviously that doesn't really count, but,
We haven't done an analysis of dock
we
lengths.
do have the navigable channel runs along this shoreline to the rest of Davis Creek, which the trustees have to put into consideration. And then also the length of the dock. I know that North Sea Harbor is a 60-foot pier line. Obviously, it's a much vaster water body than Davis Creek. So I just want to make sure that we're not going too far out into the creek.
The limit for Davis is 40 feet, and as per ADA recommendations, we need, the slope to be able to achieve, for easy access, for the client. So that is what we are able to achieve with the 40 feet. Blue Book regulations as well.
And then the upland access, I know this is not technically our jurisdiction, but it is connected to a dock that is within our
We're gonna have to figure
jurisdiction.
that out.
But
We're gonna have to figure that out. We're gonna have to make it figured out. It's not within your jurisdiction, but we're gonna have to figure out the appropriate angle of repose and all that stuff and see what Marty has to say, if anything, about it.
Well, I believe if it's connected to the dock, then you
It
can
is,
comment on, and so it is the 1 to 12. So we just need to make sure that we have that slope as per
1 to 12 is the slope that you need to.
as per ADA recommendations, yes.
Sorry, that was a better answer.
And I just briefly read the letter. So if I can address this now, or if I should wait until. We are not proposing, we did discuss, like a kayak lift at the previous hearing, but we are not proposing that, so, which is why no details were provided.
Okay, that was the question I had. So.
So that's off the table. Okay. Anybody else? I know that somebody was anxious to, you want to take your opportunity to jump in here?
Sure. David McMaster, 176 North Sea Road, Southampton, New York.
175.
My office.
Oh.
I'm here today for the owners of 185 Tab Point Road, Karen Acker and her husband Glenn. They're here in the audience today. So I have a few comments about the application that was marked submitted to the trustees on July 2nd, 2025. As an initial point, we do appreciate that the proposed dock conforms with the PI method and does not appear to encroach on my client's coastal area. However, there are still a number of what appear to be unresolved issues that I'd like to direct the trustees' attention to. The first issue appears to be that from when I went on GIS and I looked at the open permits, this originally started back in February 2024 as a proposal to legalize the existing dock, steps, and bulkhead. As the trustees know, it morphed into a new application to install a new dock in a new location. The previous application in 2024 had the short form EAF, which is part of SECRA, and the goal is to identify the potential impacts to the environment. This is obviously a very different project now that we're talking about the installation of new structures and the removal of the existing structures. I would submit that they need to submit a new environmental short form. It just seems like a completely different project, as evidenced by the fact that they did indeed submit a new application on July 2nd. So, secondly, the proposed dock also appears to be wider than what's permitted under the Southampton Town Code. We understand the trustees can make special accommodation for a handicap facility. However, the Southampton Code does require the applicant to record a covenant that the non-conforming sections of the dock will be removed if the property is sold to a third party.
Counsel, let me correct you. It's not the Southampton Town Code. That's the Blue Book, which is put into the Town Code as an appendix to support Chapter 111 of the Town Code. So it's not the operative body of law for the town. It's our Blue Book.
Okay.
It's Appendix 340.
So is that applicable to the situation here?
The Blue Book is applicable.
Okay.
I just wanted to correct you into thinking that it was the Town Code that says it's not.
All right. Well, it's on the Eco 360 as that. So
We're touchy that way.
I understand. Well, either way, that Blue Book provision does not appear to be permissive. It appears to be mandatory that covenant must be.
Well, the covenant. I never thought we were going to do anything but that.
Okay. Well, it wasn't presented here and it wasn't discussed at the last meeting. So
Standard operating procedure.
Yeah, we're very sensitive to that as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And then we dealt with the issue with the motorized lift. I'm glad to hear that that's out of the plans. The other issue is with lighting. There has not been a lighting plan that was submitted with this. I don't know if they intend to have lighting on the dock. That's, I think, a point of inquiry that would be worth pursuing for the trustees.
They have to apply to the town for an electrical permit if they're going to put lighting with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, finally, I would reiterate that the 40 feet just feels like it's too long and it would have a negative impact on my client's view shed and property value. And so we'd request a shorter dock. If
Can I just have clarification? Then 7 Norton Place, was there there was no change in the bulkheading on this project, correct? Or it was only the adjacent property that had so the dock, we're just concerned with the dock on 7 Norton Place, and then we've already kind of gone pretty far with the bulkhead that we had to repair for the native species and all that other stuff.
Right.
And you have not submitted any dock application for 175 yet?
Well, the dock is in there.
It's on there, but there's been no formal application
Oh,
for.
yeah. Should be in the package.
It's in there, I saw it.
I thought you were splitting it from the bulkhead because you wanted to get the bulkhead done first.
My recollection is it's all part and parcel.
I'm just getting clear. I just want the decks cleared on
Yeah,
this.
you have,
Because the lawyer is addressing both pieces of property simultaneously correctly. You're just addressing one
Just
piece of
7 Norton.
property. Just 7 Norton.
Yes,
You're not addressing 175 Town at this time.
correct.
Okay.
So you have no issue with 175 Town, with the dock proposal?
You can't speak from
No,
there.
sorry. As long as it's within the, my understanding from my clients is if it's within the pie chart from First Coastal, that we were on board with that.
So if 175 Town Point has a 40-foot dock, that's 4 foot wide, and 7 Norton Place has a 40-foot dock that's 5 foot wide for wheelchair accessibility, so you're only at this point.
So I haven't reviewed the application for the other one, to be honest, so I would, obviously, that doesn't make a lot of sense to oppose one.
I'm a little
and not the other one, to be honest, so I would just keep my comments for 7 Norton.
Right.
At this time.
I think a lot of what your concerns are sounds to me like they've been addressed, because they're sensitive, the things that we're sensitive to. So, and the lights, this is electric, and there's not gonna be any lift, so there's no noise issue. I mean, it just seems like.
I think the secret thing is a significant issue.
No, secret documents are filed, and changes are made to applications all the time. That's part of your process. So that's just.
It's a new
substance over
application.
form.
I'm trying to just get to the common sense of this, where you have issues, and some of them were similar issues that will be addressed, okay? And, some things have been eliminated, and
Yeah, there's a lot of agreement. to your
I
letter
think
to
there's
what we
more
want.
positive here than negative here, quite frankly, in terms of what's going on at this point in time. And it's been a process that I want to commend everybody in. But it seems to me like there's more that makes sense agreement-wise. In terms of this view shed and affecting the property value, I don't know, you have evidence to this? I just don't see that, in terms of that if their dock is 10 feet longer than somebody else's dock, that this is going to have an effect on somebody's property a couple of houses over. I don't know if I see that, I don't know what you guys
Well,
see.
it's 2 houses over. It's not
It
adjacent to
is the
property.
same length, but I see it because of the way the property is, it sticks out a little bit farther, but I don't see where that's going to
So-
have an effect on a property 2 streets
For-
over,
View shed, this is their current view shed right now. We could pass this around and circulate
Sure.
this. So obviously, there will be an impact on the view shed.
I'm talking specifically the property value.
Puts it into the record.
Second Department case out of Huntington, the Second Department has specifically stated, unless there is a section of the local land use law that creates specifically some sort of view shed protection, you're not supposed to take that into account. And what happened in that case was somebody had a perfectly legal place to put a structure. Somebody went to the zoning board of appeals, said, I want to put it over here, and somebody complained based upon the view shed, and Judge Santorelli in the Supreme Court, Suffolk County, was affirmed by the Second Department, where he said, unless there's some specific, very specific, not a general precatory statement in the legislation, unless there's a specific establishment of some sort of view shed right, that is not a reason, you're not even supposed to take that into consideration. I do want to remind you all, that this is your property.
No, listen,
John, can
I'm
you
very
give me
well
the
aware of all of
cases?
that.
I'm more than happy to get into this.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the commonality here in terms of where we're making the positive, in where we're going here, and kind of deal with where we're not,
Just a point of clarification, President Horowitz. The neighboring property owner just informed me that their dock is no longer than, or their proposed dock is 10 or 12 feet. So the hypothetical that was raised before of whether they're proposing a 40-foot dock is kind of a non-issue. They're not proposing a 40-foot dock. They're proposing a 10-foot dock or a 12-foot dock.
I'm still trying to see the harm. You can't just get up here and complain about things. You have to articulate, there has to be some nexus, and there has to be an
Could
articulated
I
harm.
potentially say something? So if you, and you can see that by the pie chart, but if you were to extend the property line straight out, we are not intersecting those property lines, so there shouldn't be any crossing of the view shed. If you look to the right, you might be able to see the dock as you would be able to see Michael Alex's dock, as you would be able to see docks if you look to the right. But if you extend the property line straight out, we would not be crossing those property lines.
I would just, I have a curiosity, there's a dock on your piece of property, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and the overhead right there is the terminus of without a ramp and without a floater, correct? On that overhead picture. But in the view shed picture you have a floater and a ramp.
That's not my floater.
But it's attached.
75's
She's
floater.
185.
I know, but this is, in 185, there's a dock
Right.
right here, and
Yes.
there's a floater and a ramp attached to it, correct?
Yes.
The dock, I'll talk here. The dock, the red line dock is a proposed dock. That's not a real dock that exists.
I'm talking about the dock that's right on the property, the red property line.
At 185.
185.
Yeah, that's where I'm talking about.
That's your dock?
No, the
No.
one to the left.
That's not a dock, that's
No,
proposed.
to the left of that.
To the left, that's not my dock, that's my next door neighbor to the left's dock.
That's in your property.
It's,
Well, that's accurate, I don't know.
I think that maybe the red line's a bit off, but
What I'm
maybe
getting
it's
at
not.
is you have something that's at the terminus, right, basically below the high tide mark, plus 12-foot for one, and a 20-foot floater. So right next to you have a 30-foot shop.
Well, it's not our dock.
But there's a
It
dock
was,
there.
it was a pre-existing dock.
Right, but it's there.
It's there,
Well,
next to your property.
yeah, but it's protected, if I can kind of explain, I don't know where that picture is, with a huge tree that,
have the
we don't
photo, and
really
that's
see
why
it.
I
You see
noticed
that
the
tree
dock.
on the side.
Yeah,
I just, I'm trying to address what the concerns are here, and
I think that for me, the property owner, it's just a matter of if you need to go 40 feet, because I have sympathy for the handicap requirements, and that's fine. If you need to go 40 feet, you go 40 feet. If you don't need to go 40 feet to get to the low tide, you don't go to 40 feet, is what I'm suggesting, because at some point, it's a wider dock, because it's handicap, it's going to be a little bit more noticeable. So that's the general idea of what
yeah,
I'm,
but we're looking at other aspects as well, and trying to be fair with everybody, and I think a lot of your boxes have been checked off,
yes,
in
they
my
have.
opinion.
They
And,
have.
I'm, a couple things I'm having a bit of a tough time with, quite frankly, and that is the value of your property based on if they get a dock that's 40 feet. I don't see that as, being honest, I just don't see that as affecting your property value here. I just don't. And view shed, depending upon where you're standing on your property, I'm sorry, I just, honestly, I don't see that being a big detriment to your view shed. I just don't. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
The other issues that you bring up, we're concerned about too.
Right.
And we're spending a lot of time
Right.
on this because we want to be sensitive to it all. to
Appreciate
get
it.
right. But I don't, some things are just going to create more problems. They're going to go on forever with somebody that doesn't like. There are valid concerns that your council has brought up, and we're going to address.
Yes.
There's no doubt. But
I should just say that the environmental aspect of the 40 feet, to me, is just another one of the things in the back of my mind. But I do appreciate everything that they did. I'm so thrilled, really, that they came to the agreement that they did, that Coastal put together that great pie chart. So I do appreciate what you're saying.
I want to address what I really sensibly and reasonably can, and I'm being honest with you on things that I'm wrestling with, because I just think, I don't totally agree with it, and it's a slippery slope throughout the entire township. and beyond, and I want everybody to kind of feel good about this when we walk away from it, and I'm just being honest with you,
Okay.
you know.
Thank you.
Just to add though, you can assign whatever weight to whatever information you've gotten from the hearing to your decision.
Which is what I will do.
Just,
Okay.
can I
Can I
make one other-
address
Sure.
the lighting? It would have to be dark skies compliant. That's important.
Yes.
I mean, you know, you talk about lighting, and it's not in our purview to give electrical, that would be through the town, but just the heads up. I don't want lights shining in other people's windows, because we've dealt with that as a board in the past, so it's gonna be dark sky compliant.
They have
anything
to
that goes
comply
in.
with the town code and the
Just
dark skies.
That's a town code issue.
In terms of the sufficiency of the application that was submitted on July 2nd, your trustees Blue Book, it's called, is that correct?
Yes.
It does require that a survey that was updated less than a year before the application was submitted. This survey that was part of even the 2024 application was last updated 2021. So that is not in compliance with your own requirements here.
Well, before we.
I'm just pointing that out.
You know, and I appreciate that, because we're sensitive to that, and we want engineered plans that are stamped by an engineer. When we're at the final point before we're actually gonna pass a resolution to grant a permit, there are all these requirements and boxes that have to be checked, and I appreciate you pointing that out.
Respectfully, I think that's a requirement for the submission of a complete
Right,
complete
and thank you.
application.
Which you can waive that.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to.
I get that.
Is this all hyper-technical?
no,
He's
I-
getting paid to make hyper-technical arguments.
And
One
I-
thing he hasn't shown is any true detriment or harm.
I appreciate your participation. We're all gonna do the best we can here with this, okay?
At this point, I would recommend we close the hearing.
Is there anybody else that wants to be heard on this here in the room today? Is there anyone else that wants to get on the record?
I think we've received them good
Well-
information so that we can move forward with the hearing and make a good
I
decision.
have to ask if there's anybody on Zoom that wants to be heard relative to this before I close this public hearing.
I have one hand up.
Okay.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Is this relative to the
I'm gonna
open?
be-
two
I'm going to
open
be
public
very,
hearings?
very quick here. I tried to get on. This isn't with regards to this one. This is with regards to 20.
Okay,
for
this
some
is,
reason.
okay, let me stop you. Let me stop
I
you.
will, Hunter. Yep. They wouldn't let me
We're
through.
only going to address specific
Agreed.
to this public hearing right now. We're going to have something called public portion further on in the meeting, and my suggestion is you wait till that point.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay?
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I just want to state one thing. I want to thank the board very much for pushing us to cooperate, and I want to thank Mr. Aaron and Jim's clients for making this a cooperative process. At first, I was resistant because whenever you're putting part of your application in somebody else's control, as a lawyer, I object, but I get a little bit. But I want to thank it. It turned out extremely well.
Well, see it from my perspective, sitting in the middle seat here, right? So I'm just trying to get everybody to kind of cooperate and work together to get the best result we
I
can.
didn't want to leave without saying that, but I thank you very much.
And I appreciate what all of you have done. It's been a pleasure of a multiple public hearing that we have here.
Quickly, I know that you wanted to come before our board first, and we obviously have to come back with, what we deem kind of acceptable, whether it's for 40 feet, 30 feet, no feet. I don't know. This is a board that has to decide this, but where are we at with the other regulatory agencies?
We are in with the revised plans, but we have not received comments on these yet.
Well, this is just a public hearing phase at this point in time. So what we would do is we would close this public hearing, and we may leave it open for a couple weeks of written comment, or just close it entirely.
We've had this.
It's been going on and on.
The horse has
We don't
been
need
beat
more
to
of it.
death.
I really
at
don't
this
need any
point.
more. I don't really need any more. I was kind of glad that he wants to talk about something else, quite frankly, in all honesty.
The horse has long since died.
Yeah,
We
I
beat
think,
it beyond
I
recognition.
think we've all worked hard on it, to your point, to all of your points. We've all worked hard.
I'd just like to say thanks to John Bennett. When I've needed some information on this, you've been prompt. I can see that there has been good cooperation between council and experts, and they should all go this easy, John. Thank you.
Thank you, I
thing done.
appreciate that comment.
Yeah.
I really do. I
Very
really
easy,
do.
yeah.
I do.
All right, so I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Justin.
This is for both hearings?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion for both hearings, let me be clear.
Yes, let's put this to bed.
Both hearings can be simultaneously
Yes.
closed as they were simultaneously open.
Second.
Seconded.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Information, our engineered plans are already in, so if you would be kind enough to put us on the agenda to advance,
I'll remind,
we'll do.
one's in charge.
Thanks again.
All right, have a,
Pass these down to Lisa.
all right. Here we go.
This goes down to Wilson. Good thing it's us.
That would be concluding our, no, we've got one more.
Oh, yeah.
I turn the page and I stand corrected. I've got a notice of public hearing to consider the revocation of mooring permits of Josh Valori. I will make a motion to open this public hearing.
Second.
Seconded, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I will see,
Hi, I have the insurance documents
If I may.
for Mr. Lombardo.
okay, state your name for the record.
Alrighty.
State your name for the record.
Yes, I'm getting there. Sorry. Barbara Wilson, 165 Elm Street, Southampton, New York, 11968.
Thank you.
Wouldn't we all rather be on the water right now?
Yes, we would, but we've got
We would
public
be-
service to
Yes.
contend with here.
We were elected to do our jobs.
We're doing our
so we're in the
jobs, yeah.
Process of serving you, the public.
Okay, at the
Well, don't forget to take a swim tonight.
At the one and only other live session we've had on this public hearing, there was a request made for proof of affiliation with the Boy Scouts, which I satisfied on my own investigation and determined that there was an affiliation and a request for insurance from the Boy Scouts. I've been presented the certificates of insurance from Mr. Valori and from the Boy Scouts.
For 4 different vessels.
So I would respectfully say that we can close this hearing. Apparently, there are no boats on the moorings at this point, according to the Marine Patrol.
Taking no action.
We can take no action and just close this out if that's acceptable to the board and acceptable to Mr. Valori.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I'd really like to say something, because I'm dealing with this for quite a while. Now, we've given permits to Mr. Valori and the Sea Scouts to put moorings in, and there is a time frame on which those moorings are supposed to be removed.
Free of charge.
Absolutely.
Yes, and the moorings. So, moving forward, is this going to be revisited next year at the same time with these same,
Not by me, I'll be in Ohio with my grandbaby.
Well, I'm
There's
getting a
the
little
answer.
tired of this. I mean, we, on good faith, gave gave him permits to put mooring for his for the Sea Scouts to do sailing and for handicapped people, kids and stuff like that. And I thought that, I still think that's a really good cause.
Thank you.
But at the end of the day, those moorings have to be removed. If
Yes,
they
they
stay in
do.
there long enough.
I've made that clear to my client,
But
but he will not be my client after today.
but when you
So
go
I
to
can't
remove
control
these
him
old
any more than I
moorings-
could control my husband. So
But when you go to remove these moorings, if there's a 300 or a 400-pound mushroom anchor that is stuck in the mud and the tackle breaks, that's going to be left there for some mariner to run over and, with their
I'm
boat.
sure it won't be, because I'm sure that you will be in contact with Mr. Valori,
Well-
and you will make sure that he removes them timely. Otherwise, he will have to retain counsel
Right, so we're gonna,
and take care of it. Right now, I did this, as I said before, pro bono, so I will not be here to do that for him again.
So we're
He
gonna have
knows
to
his
put-
responsibilities. I've outlined them to him, and that's the best I can do. I'm not married to him. I don't own him. I can't
So you're
make
gonna-
him do anything. I will certainly pass along your comments, Trustee Warner, to him and let him know that the board will be, as I will be, most disappointed if he does not comply.
Well, I appreciate that, but I want to make the point very clear that these derelict moorings, when they're left in the wintertime, as a bayman going around the creeks and harbors to go fishing and make my living, and other baymen here will attest to this, running into one of those could be a deadly consequence.
Well, look,
And I've seen multiple moorings left in a lot of creeks.
I'd like to just put a recommendation out that this be a year by year renewal process.
The mooring expires this year.
Yeah,
So
but
next year we can
do
certainly.
3-year mooring, but I believe because this has been such a touchy issue and this is the Sea Scouts and we have, as I believe, waived the fees for these moorings.
Yes.
And we've had somebody that's been in non-compliance numerous times and numerous years, that we go a year by year case basis.
We could
I
consider
will let him
amending
know.
the blue book and
But my
you don't have to give
suggestion-
it for free.
Right, but my suggestion is, this is a public hearing for a specific purpose, that we perhaps curtail our commentary to that, and we will deal with
Well,
these other.
this is part of the.
I get it, but we'll deal with future Blue Book changes and policy changes at the appropriate time, and we're gonna have to address the appropriate parties duly noted.
Yes.
Thank you.
And hopefully we still have a democracy at that time.
We will. We will.
Last time I looked, we did.
Thank you so much, all of you. Enjoy your wonderful day. And I do hope that you all get to go and take a swim today, because this is really fantastic weather
Thank you.
right now.
You too.
So,
So I
Thank
will
you.
make a motion to close public.
Second.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
thank you very much. Everyone be safe on the water. Thank you.
You can do whatever you want. Trustee Barron, you can excuse yourself. Go ahead, do what you gotta do, sir. Do whatever you gotta do. I'm gonna make a motion to call public portion at this point in time. Seconded, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor, aye. It's gonna open public portion. Now, sir, that you wanted to address us, now would be the appropriate time if you had something that you needed to bring up on Zoom.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, we can hear you now. You got a few minutes. What is it that?
Yeah, I'm going to be quick about this. Shouldn't take up too much of your time. Thomas Crusoe, 11 Ludlow Lane, so pertains to 20 Ludlow Lane. I'm not sure if counsel, or I believe she was counsel for 20, was there, but my question is there anymore. But my question was kind of around kind of DEC's comments and what they had said, because it seemed like, yes, I took a look at the plans and they went from, I think, 140 feet to 40 feet on that revenant. My understanding via last discussion we had was they were not going to necessarily take the same exact structure. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but I thought they were going to take a less.
I think we're premature on and speculating at this point in time. They did have commentary to make it a smaller footprint relative to the same area that the rocks already are at the mean high water mark, and plantings, to try and get plantings to be established, but it's not totally finished yet. So we basically adjourned this till September because there's nothing really definitive for us to work on. So ahead of that, it makes more sense to deal with this in September when we actually have something to sink our teeth into. So we're all speculating right now.
Yeah, I understand that. I'll let you guys go then. And obviously, our concerns remain the same.
Stay tuned
with
for September's meeting.
Regards to, our concerns just remain the same. Obviously, with the erosion on the beach in general that would be caused by this and precedents.
Stay tuned for
et cetera,
September's
the house.
meeting.
Yep, I will be tuned in for that one.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Anybody else that needs to address anybody here? You want to address public comment period?
I'm here for 141, I don't need to address anything.
Well, you can't speak from there, but what, 141, okay. It's on for resolution? Okay. If we need you, you're here. Thank you. Anybody else on Zoom that wants to have public portion?
No one else on Zoom.
Okay, I make a motion to close public portion.
Second.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor? Okay, let's go into the resolutions now. And we do have a few walk-ons, so please don't let me forget that.
Won't let you forget.
Right, don't let me forget that.
I won't.
First one is, where are we? 25-26. I'll make a motion to table this
Second
one.
on that one.
Seconded to trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
And then we have 2025-189. Marcus Mordicini, 34 Shinnecock Road, East Quogue, New York, tax map 900, 384-3-25. Recommend disapproval.
Second.
Second, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye. Trustee Resolution 2025-190. First renewal for application for Coal Mountain LLC, 16 Sonham Lane, Shinnecock Hills, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-134-1-9, body of water, Shinnecock Bay. We worked on this at work session and we approved it previously. This is its first renewal. I recommend its approval.
Second.
Seconded trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2025-191, application for John Carney, 97A Lynn Avenue, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-270-4-5.01, body of water, Shinnecock Bay. We worked on this at work session. I recommend its approval.
Seconded trustee Parsons, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2025-192, application for Kristen Leno, 2022 revocable trust, 16 Lynn Court, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-270-4 13.01, body of water, Shinnecock Bay. We worked on this in work session. I recommend its approval.
Second that.
Second trustee Parsons, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 193, 2025. This is application 85 Downey Lane, Village, Suffolk County 904-12-1-1.2, body of water, Harry Creek, kind of second.
Second on that.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 194, 2025. This is application of for 141 Shore Road, North Sea, New York. This is that's 900-76-2-17-.001, body one, North Sea Harbor. Kind of second.
Second.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 205 of 2025. This is a renewal application for underwater lands of Old Town Pond, as we discussed the last few meetings, and as it was discussed. This is for the drainage. Can I have a second on this one?
Second on that one.
Second trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye. I have trustee resolution 2025-195. First renewal application of Halleck W. Culver of 6 Beaver Dam Road, West Hampton, New York. Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-376-1-36.1 on Beaver Dam Creek. Can I get a second on this, please?
Second.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye. I have trustee resolution 2025-196. Application of 1718 LLC, 400 Dune Road, Village of West Hampton Beach, New York. Suffolk County Tax Map number 905-17-3-55.1 on Mauritius Bay. Can I get a second on this?
Second.
Seconded trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee resolution 2025-197. This is application of Solomon Adams at 614 Dune Road, West Hampton, New York. Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-391-1-40. Can I get a second on this, please?
Second.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye. Trustee resolution 2025-206. Application of Southampton Town Underwater Land, West Hampton, New York, on Mauritius Bay. Can I get a second on this, please?
Second.
Seconded trustee Warner will be obviously waiving permit fees for the town.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
2025-198, authorize the purchase for stakes for the fencing for cut openings and plover programs. I recommend its approval. I need a
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee resolution 2025-199, warrant number 11 for 2025 for the sum of $203,944.88. Register reads as Be Ready Fishburne Hatter, $268.75. Law offices of Con and Con, $1,833.50. Call Ahead, $75.20. Constructs LLC, $219.65. Charlotte Dickinson, $86.80. Ellen Financial Services, $3,423.77. Inner Science, $7,252. Joseph R. Lombardo, $4,100. James E. Olivo, $2,500. PSEGLI, $47.87. Rapid Recover, $244. Sawcliffe Stearns, $1,210. Sucrose Pass Contemporary LLC, $2,000. South Shore Docks, $5,250. Town of Southampton, $175,310.86. And WB Mason for $122.48 for a total of $203,944.88. I recommend its approval. I need a second.
Second.
Second, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2025, authorizing the reimbursement of town for first quarter 2025 employee salaries and benefit costs. I recommend its approval. I need a second.
Second.
Second, trustee Parsons, all in favor?
Aye.
2025-201, authorized payment for Order Motor Rental Inc. for repairs on trustee barge. I need a second on that.
Second that.
Second, trustee Parsons, all in favor?
Aye. Trustee Resolution 2025-202, authorize the payment for services of inner science for Mecox Bay, Sam's Creek, Swans Creek, and Hayground Creek. I recommend its approval. I need a second.
Second.
Second, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, trustee resolution 2025-203, notice of public hearing to add the Blue Book definition of the word shellfish to Article 2, taking of shellfish.
You want an explanation?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. There was a question about the taking of conchs, and I forget the other species, but in any event,
Crabs, conchs, and
the conchs are not considered shellfish, but our definition in the Blue Book for shellfish includes crabs, conchs, and other what the DEC would consider non-shellfish species. So this is just to avoid the confusion that somebody with one of our licenses has to make sure that they're following the Blue Book and not taking a species that is maybe not defined by the DEC, if they should get guidance from the DEC and saying, well, it's not a shellfish, so you can't. So it's just a
Clarification.
It's just for clarification, and it's a bright line right at the top of the article. It says, this is the definition that will apply.
Thank you.
housekeeping on.
So this is a, I'd like to make the motion to have this public hearing on August 4th, 2025, 1 PM here at Town Hall.
Well, it's Eddie's, but okay.
What?
Was Eddie's resolution.
Yours?
Second it.
Second it, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so the next one we have, 2025-204. This is another public hearing. You want to explain this, the Blue Book change?
We're merely memorializing in the Blue Book the state requirement that any freshwater body, if you're going to put a boat with a motor in there, it has to be an electric motor. It can't be gas powered. We're just following suit with the state.
Because we've had some complaints about some,
There have been apparently.
we're going to have to work on some enforcement.
So just to clarify, so because I don't want to overturn state law, given that it's always been a law. So we're just clarifying for our rule.
We're putting ourselves. We've always. My understanding has been we've always, we've not outright prohibited gas, but it's been understood that the state regulations in terms of an electric boat motor would be the one that would apply. This removes any doubt whatsoever.
Yeah, but let me clarify a little bit further. There are times when we would hire a company like Solitude Lake or had our marine maintenance guys go to Lake Agawam to do a visual inspection. We would need to be able to go down there with a bigger boat that has an aspiration engine on it. So we would be doing that. But for the normal fisherman and boater in the freshwater lakes and ponds, it would be
Yes.
prohibited.
Right,
Yeah.
we got to do it. We have
Same
to
as
do
the
it.
catch and, we have the catch and release requirement also that the state has in the Blue Book. This is just pulling that second state requirement in and codifying it with us.
Yes.
So this is going to be another public hearing for August 4th,
Yeah.
Yep.
This will be a 30-minute hearing.
2025,
This will be a quick hearing.
at 1 PM. So
Yep.
we'll make a motion for that public hearing. Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we go to walk-ons.
Walk-ons.
So I gotta make a motion to walk on a packet of three.
Second.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so now with the walk-ons. So walk-on one is a resolved road review application for 1,000 Noyak Path to accept $20,000 for the trustees for curb cut on 1,000 Noyak Path, right?
Okay, yep.
That's correct.
So is there a second for that?
Second for that.
So seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
And we have authorizing resolution number 2, walk-on 2, Board of Trustees to waive the 2025 trustee event permit application fee of $800 for the Southampton Yacht Club.
I'll second that.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
And I have walk-on number 3, which is,
You didn't get one?
No,
I didn't get
I
one.
didn't either.
Yeah, I didn't get one.
for the purchase of a Ford
You
F.
have to hand them down.
That'd be helpful. It's for the purchase of a Ford F-150? Okay, thank you very much. So walk-on number 3, award and authorize the purchase of one 2025 Ford F-150 Super Crew from Van Bortel Ford using New York State OGS contract for vehicles.
I'll second that.
Seconded by trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
It's $46,363.74. We need another truck. And unfortunately, one of our trucks was crashed into, rear-ended, the Clover stewards, so now we will have to file a third-party property damage liability
But no one was hurt. So.
claim. No one was hurt. We just got a banged-up truck, but we'll have to get the responsible party to repair it. Yeah, they got some socks, okay. Is there any other discussion that we need to have? I know it's been quite the chock-full day between work sessions, exec sessions, public hearings, and everything else. Is there anything else anybody needs to bring up?
I had a couple inquiries about Fresh Pond in North Sea. I guess everybody on the board has.
Yes,
phone calls.
yes.
So I had asked the Marine Maintenance Chief, Tim Wilson, to please put some more whips down there, or, basically flags down there to delineate the channel so it's easier for people to navigate in and out of the harbor. So he did that.
In addition to that, I had the constables do some drone footage and get us some intel, and I forwarded that over to the County of Suffolk dredge crew so that they have some good information. Obviously, it's difficult to just drop everything in dredge. There's dredge windows and logistics issues, but they need to address this perhaps so that they can get more longevity out of this project. And they're looking into that. So we forwarded all that information over to them.
Good.
Okay, so we got trying to help these folks out because I understand the frustration, and it's not just that area. There are other areas that I'm getting complaints on that we are getting information over to the county and trying to clean some things up. It's not easy.
I just want to reiterate from this morning's comments regarding Alpharos. It was a great, unfortunate but great collaboration between the village and us to clarify the issue with Road G. So again, I want to thank the village PD and also this board for their quick action to mitigate the issue.
Yes.
More to come. We have to keep these roads open for public access, and these were deals that were made a long time ago, back in the 50s, right?
56.
And they have to do that. They have to be for all the public, and the village has been very attentive in trying to satisfy the needs so that people can go.
Even more so since the Pickman area has been closed for the last few years because of the amount of birds nesting there, and we need a few more areas. I mean, it's not a lot, but it does give the public access to beaches east of the picnic area on foot. But I mean, it is beach access, so
absolutely.
And there are, the village does have control of them, but they were our roads, and there was the agreement for the public to access the beaches.
Correct. The
It's
village
important.
has control, but there are caveats to that, and they have to be adhered to, right?
But also, it goes without saying that the adjoining property owners need to be aware of this too. And they're not always aware of it, and they should be, but that's for discussion for a different day. But I just wanted to, again, clarify how it's a work in progress.
Okay, and I would just say for everybody that's out there on the waterways, it's been kind of crowded there. Please exercise courtesy. Please pay attention to the no-wake zones. Please watch the fuel docks where you see people fueling up. Have some courtesy. Pull back on your throttles. You know, you're out there with the kids. You know, tell them to keep their hands in the boat when you're docking. You know, there's been some accidents, you know, in the area and beyond. And I think that everyone has to have this boating certificate now to be out there on the waterways. You know, some common sense and some courtesy and is really important. The Marine Patrol's doing a great job. I've been reading their reports. They are writing a lot of tickets. They are out there. They're making checks. They're protecting resources. And they've got a heck of a job to do because the waterway is a lot more jammed than it's been in the past. And, you know, the other thing is that for those of you that are out there running around at night, I know everybody's got all this technology now, but still, these are narrow channels. These are highly constrained areas. Pull your throttle back. Move slower, please. You know, we want to keep our waterways as safe as we possibly can, and it requires everybody to be paying attention.
One last quick point to that point, Scott. I want to say, you know, just on the record that I have received some complaints from some of the members of the public who live over in the North Sea area regarding speeding in channels, and I will we discussed it. And I will tell that resident to address the proper channels. We'll follow up and deal with that.
Of course. But I think that for anybody that's out there and they're listening, if you could just, you know, give it some thought when you're out there to what is going on around you. And if you see a mariner that needs some help, give them some help. And if you got somebody that maybe needs some advice on how to dock their boat or tie something up, maybe take a little extra time and kind of mentor them a little bit, because I'm seeing a lot of this going on in the waterways, and I've been out there for a long time, that some of you have been as well. And it's like, you know, I'm seeing and hearing of these incidents and accidents that are occurring, and you know what? Let's try and pay attention. Let's try and be a little bit more safe. All right. So that being said,
yes,
Judge Wilson was suggesting we go swimming. That's probably not a bad idea.
Let's hope everybody took the safe boaters course so that
Right.
they know how to operate their vessels after they purchase
They're
them.
supposed to do that, you know, and, you know, guys like myself have 100-ton masters, have been running boats a long time, but there's a lot of folks out there that purchased boats during COVID because they couldn't take their vacations.
Right.
And, you know, you really want to be proficient in this because it's serious. It's serious. All right.
Yes.
Based on that, I would like to make a motion to adjourn and move on with our day. Seconded by Trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a great day, everybody.